Former New Zealand and Blues hooker James Parsons has given his verdict on what the All Blacks need to improve to match the high standards set by South Africa in the Test arena. If you are a fan of the All Blacks, go All Blacks in the comments and subscribe to the channel. The Springboks were absolutely dominant during the recent Rugby Championship, winning 5 of their 6 matches and taking the title for the first time since 2019. Meanwhile, the All Blacks had a bit of a roller coaster ride, finishing second but only winning 3 matches. And to make things worse, they lost both their games against the Springboks, in Johannesburg and Cape Town. According to Parsons, one major issue for the All Blacks was their discipline. Throughout the tournament, they conceded more penalties than the Springboks, and while the difference might seem small, on average, the Boks gave away 9 penalties per game and the All Blacks 12. That's enough to have a big impact. He emphasized that it's not just the number of penalties, but where and when they happen. He explained massive differences, and it's where the penalties are given away. Those moments cost us dearly. Yellow cards were another issue, with the All Blacks getting caught out at critical times. The Springboks, on the other hand, were able to capitalize on their opponents' mistakes during those same periods, which was a huge factor in their success. Parsons pointed out that when South Africa gets a yellow card, they seem to handle it much better, and their opponents struggle to match that level of resilience. On top of that, Parsons talked about how the Springboks outperformed the All Blacks in terms of ball carrying. Their ability to gain ground with powerful carries was a game-changer, with South Africa averaging 23 dominant carries per game compared to the other team's 18 or 19. Former Crusaders scrum half Bryn Hall also chimed in, noting how the Boks' relentless approach at the breakdown gave their backs excellent ball to work with, thanks to the incredible effort from their forwards. Another factor that came up was how the Springboks keep things simple in attack, focusing on brute strength and not overcomplicating their play. This straightforward approach has paid off, allowing their backs to capitalize and score points. Parsons mentioned that the All Blacks could take a page from the Springboks book by simplifying their attack, especially in the last 20 minutes of games. The Boks' defensive game was also on another level. On average, they made 40 fewer tackles per match than New Zealand, Argentina, and Australia. This was critical, as fewer tackles allowed them to conserve energy and stay fresh for the full 80 minutes. Parsons pointed out that defense can drain a team's energy if not managed well, but South Africa has mastered the balance between defense and attack. In summary, the All Blacks have some areas to work on, especially discipline, simplifying their attack, and improving their ball carrying, if they want to catch up to the standard set by South Africa. What do you think? Do you agree with James Parsons' analysis? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. All Blacks team winners and losers, as uncompromising Sam Cane joins illustrious list while TJ Perenara gets a fitting send-off. We pick out our winners and losers from Scott Robertson's All Blacks team to face the Wallabies in Bledisloe 2. Scott Robertson has named his matchday 23 for the final All Blacks match in New Zealand of the year as they front up against the Wallabies. The All Blacks boss has made some enforced changes to his squad, while he has also rewarded stalwarts of the black jersey with TJ Perenara featuring in his final home test, while Sam Cane celebrates a special milestone. Australia gave the All Blacks a mighty scare with a marvelous comeback in Bledisloe but ultimately fell short, and Robertson will hope his charges don't fall into the same trap as they look to end their Wellington hoodoo, as they are currently on a 5-match winless streak at the ground. Ahead of the All Blacks' final game in New Zealand for 2024, we pick out the winners and losers from Robertson's selections. If you are a fan of All Blacks, go All Blacks in the comments and subscribe to the channel. Winners. Earning 100 test caps for any nation is a stunning achievement and a true testament to a player's work ethic, professionalism, and quality, but doing so for the All Blacks is even more impressive. On Saturday, Cane will join the illustrious list of legends who have donned the iconic black jersey 100 times in a test match, and he is thoroughly deserving of the honor. He follows in the footsteps of Richie McCaw, Kevin Mialamu, Beauden Barrett, Kieran Redd, Aaron Smith, Tony Woodcock, Dan Carter, Brodie Retallick, Sam Whitelock, Owen Franks, Ma Nonu, and Mills Muliana, becoming the 13th All Black Centurion. Although he has had his critics in the past, he has served his country with real distinction. Filling the gigantic void McCaw left in the All Blacks' number 7 jumper was never going to be an easy task, but Cane took it in his stride and for much of his career has thrived. Even after a horrific neck injury that threatened not only his career but his ability to walk, Kane fought back and returned to the highest level. An uncompromising competitor on the pitch and a leader of men, Kane hangs up his test boots this year but is fittingly given the opportunity which he has more than earned to celebrate a significant milestone and etch his name into New Zealand rugby's history books. Joining Kane in making his final home appearance in the black jersey is Wellington man Perenara, who bows out earning his 87th test cap for his country. Like Kane, Perenara has shown immense fortitude to work his way back from a career-threatening injury to not only become Super Rugby's all-time leading try scorer, but also the Hurricanes' most capped player. For the veteran scrum half, there could hardly be a more fitting end to his All Blacks career in New Zealand as he starts alongside his longtime halfback partner Beauden Barrett, who he ripped through Super Rugby and international defenses with for several years. He also bows out at his home ground and in front of fans who have adored the mouthy halfback since his Canes debut in 2010. It's been somewhat of a roller coaster year for Beauden Barrett in the All Blacks jumper, as he shone in the England series off the bench before being promoted to the starting 15 for the opening matches of the Rugby Championship. He was dropped to the bench in an attempt to get the All Blacks firing in the latter stages of the test against the Springboks in Cape Town, but ultimately failed to do so. However, on Saturday, he gets a well-deserved opportunity in his more natural position at fly half for the first time in 2024. Barrett remains a world-class playmaker and general, and will look to stamp his mark on the jersey before the November internationals roll around. From the vastly experienced to the exciting youth, Wallace Sititi has been a revelation for the All Blacks in the Rugby Championship after his blockbuster outing against the Springboks in Cape Town. He backed up that performance with another starring role in the victory over the Wallabies last time out, where he was arguably the best forward and possibly the standout player on the park. The All Blacks have struggled to find a long-term star to don the number 6 jumper since Jerome Kainos' retirement, and while players like Via Fifita, Liam Squire and Shannon Frizzell have made a good fist of it previously, none have stuck around long enough for New Zealand. Sititi is seen as more of a number 8, but right now, his quality at such a young age on the side of the scrum could see him nail down the position long-term, particularly with Artie Savia likely to remain the go-to option at the back of the scrum. Losers. After 7 straight starts in the number 10 jumper, Damian McKenzie drops down to the bench for the All Blacks with Beauden Barrett taking his place in the starting 15. It's been a real mixed bag for the Chief star in 2024, often thriving in the role but having far too many soft moments. McKenzie's quality and brilliance on attack is undeniable, but his 7 caps this year show that he still has much work to do in order to become a world-class number 10. He returns to a rather familiar role on the bench where he has shown previously for the All Blacks, and considering the team's lack of points in the final quarter of tests, he may just be the injection of energy and pace they require. An untimely injury has ended Jordie Barrett's Rugby Championship campaign, and depending on his rehabilitation progress, his chances of featuring for the All Blacks during the end-of-year tour. The brilliant All Blacks back was really starting to click with Ione, as the combination has had its struggles this year, and his injury is a setback not only from an individual perspective but a team one too, as Robertson would have loved for the pair to get another crack. What do you think? Let us know your opinion in the comments.